Hi, everyone. It's a sort of beautiful Tuesday right now, actually, here in South Bend. Lovely day, and I hope you can appreciate its beauty, whether just looking out a window or maybe getting outside for some kind of um, way of enjoying it. Going for a walk or a run or a bike ride or some gardening, like I talked about yesterday, or any other possible way that you could enjoy the beauty of this day. So, just my reflection for today, something that came to me through some meditation time. I was just listening to a talk given by this other priest from, I think it's from California? I don't remember. Anyways, he was just talking about how Jesus asks a lot of questions in the Bible, well, in the Gospels, but God throughout the Bible. There's all kinds of questions that he asks, like in the Old Testament, he's like, where are you? To Adam and Eve. It's the first question that God asks us. Jesus saying, what do you want or what do you seek? What are you looking for? At the beginning of John's Gospel. And do you want to be well? Do you want to be healed? As he asked to the paralytic man who wants to get into the pool of water at Bethesda. So there's many questions that Jesus asked, but one that they said that kind of stuck out for me that got me thinking was Jesus said at one point in Gospel of Mark, and it's also written in a different way in another gospel, he says, to what shall I compare the kingdom of God, or what parable will I use for it? And then Jesus, has these different parables to talk about the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is like this, like a mustard seed, or the kingdom of God is like a pearl of great price, a merchant going to search for a pearl of great price, all kinds of other things that he uses to describe the kingdom of God. And I was just wondering about that, thinking about that, and I got an idea for why Jesus even asked that question. And I think he was doing that because what he wants is he wants to get from his heart into our hearts a kind of longing and a desiring for that kingdom. He wants us to actually reflect on it again and again and again as we look about our world and we go through our life, that as we're going through all of that, we are keeping our eyes on heaven. We are remembering the kingdom of God and what Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead for, and we are sort of seeing how that plays out in our life, in our world around us. So really, it keeps our hearts in the right direction. Yesterday I was talking about putting things in their proper order, getting things oriented towards their proper ends, to their proper goals, to their destiny. And I just thought about how, the reason Jesus asked this question, to what shall I compare the kingdom of God, or what parable will I use for it, is he's trying to invite us into a lifestyle, a way of thinking, a mentality that is sort of a way of praying at all times, like St. Paul tells us to do, to pray without ceasing. Because when we are sort of meditating on heaven, when we are looking for how God is manifesting himself and revealing his kingdom in different ways in our world now, in some ways we're fostering that longing for heaven. We are kindling the fire of that desire for communion with God, that we want to see him, that we want to be with him, that we want to be close to him and receive him at all times, as he indeed wants to do the same for us. So I guess Jesus asked this question because he wants us to have that deep longing for heaven, to be constantly looking for it, to be constantly have our eyes open for how God is working, how he is moving, and how he wants to reveal and show himself in our lives and in our world. So keep your eyes open and don't stop thinking about the kingdom of God. Don't stop thinking about what God really wants to do and how he wants to build it up in our world today. Starting now, we look in our world and the circumstances that we're going through right now. How do we see God in this? How do we see him still planting the seeds of his kingdom in our world today and allowing them to grow? Okay, there's my little reflection for you today. And I hope that this little seed that I'm scattering along the fields of the interwebs over the internet and Facebook, that it can take root in your hearts and find some way to grow and let God do what he wants to do with it. Okay? Take care and have a good rest of your day. Happy Easter.